Welcome back, everybody, to another tier list video. This time we're going to be doing World of Warcraft classes. Now, I've been playing WoW since late vanilla, I guess, and I've been playing all the way up to War Within. I'm off and on when it comes to the game itself, and so I can't really specifically say, like, what are all the new things that they can do. I'm just going to say what classes I think are interesting versus the classes that aren't. And then you can just let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree or why my opinions suck or don't suck or whatever. But yeah, we're going to jump into it. It's going to be a nice short video, and yeah, we'll see which ones will make the top tier list and which ones won't make the top list. So right now we are going to focus on Paladin, I think, is what we're going to start with. And I'm just going to straight up put that in S tier. The name Bazerath is actually created from the original character that I made in vanilla. And that was Bazerath. And I played Bazerath all the way through, all throughout all the years, all the way up to War Within. I think Paladin has had its good times and bad times. I remember back in the day when they used to have like wreck bomb paladins, and essentially you would stack reckoning and you can essentially one-shot tanks, which is pretty nasty. They've changed so much, all these classes have, but Paladin also is like a type of class that I would play in any game if they offered it. So it doesn't matter what game it is or what style of game, if they offered a Paladin, that's always my first class. In Dungeons and Dragons, I play a Paladin, and his name's Bazerath. Like, it just doesn't matter. Or Paladin-like classes. So, definitely my favorite class in World of Warcraft. Next, I would have to say that either Warrior or Demon Hunter. I personally like Warrior quite a bit, and that is because I don't like feeling like I'm not really a part of the fight, and essentially warriors are just like right up in people's faces 24/7. They're fun to tank. It's really fast paced. They're fun to DPS. They can use two-handed weapons. And the warrior that I have in World of Warcraft is named Tyrael. And he's also a vanilla original, so I definitely would say warrior is probably my second. And then typically in WoW, I play tanks or healers and not so much DPS. That was another thing about Paladin, is like, I remember back in the day of like healing tanks, and basically Paladins, it's like they used a lot of mana, but they were essentially like good for keeping up either an off tank, or if you're main tank healing, they're really good at like making them go from like nothing to full, like big crit heals. So Paladins were really fun. Warriors are really good because I like how in the face they are when it comes to like most combat scenarios. So the next class I would say would be the funnest to play would be Demon Hunter. I haven't gotten a whole lot of experience on the Demon Hunter, but the class itself is really fun to play, and it's probably the most interesting DPS class in my opinion, specifically for melee. Obviously I like my melee champions. I don't know, just Demon Hunter, it just fits well with my personality as well. Like, I kind of wish that I did a lot more raiding with my current Demon Hunter. But so far, from just personal experience of like how it feels, I feel like it's a really fun class. Hunters are pretty fun. Rogues aren't too bad. Invokers are a little awkward. I don't know. It's really tough. Mages. I feel like mages are really fun. Especially now that mages can do, what is it, fire and ice. I think that they have a lot of utility. There's a lot of cool abilities. I like the way the trees are working now. Frost Mage is super fun. I actually currently have a decently leveled, or a high leveled, or sorry, a max leveled mage with some raid gear and some not. And everything that I've done with in Mythic Pluses, I've done with my Mage, and it's been really good so far. So I would say Mage is definitely up there in the enjoyable side of things. Next would probably be I'd probably say Druid would be the next one. I don't have a lot of experience with Druids, but Druids are very diverse. They've got shape shifting, they've got healing, they've got casting DPS, they've got melee DPS, they've got the ability to tank. You can DPS as a cat. Like, it's just, there's so much to them. If you want a lot of things to do and a lot of like availability when it comes to joining raids and all that kind of stuff, or going into PvP or anything like that, Druids would be the way to go. Next on the list would be probably my Rogue. Rogues are interesting because I feel like they've changed a lot with like slice and dice and roll the dice and all that kind of stuff. And they're not the easiest class to learn either. They're pretty fun when it comes to melee. Would I recommend this highly? It's hard to say. I'd say it would sit in the enjoyable level. You've got so a lot of melee in the epic level. You've got a lot of enjoyable classes. I think that'll like satisfy the things that you want. And then we're just gonna do like 3, 3, and 3 kind of thing. Just so that it's kind of a more diverse tier list as well. After that, I would probably say Invoker. Invokers are fun. I like their DPS aspect and I like their healing aspect, but their healing is really fucking weird. Like, I don't think I've ever played a class that just feels odd to play. Maybe it's because there's like a lot of bronze abilities with like, I don't know, what is it, fire and blue ancestry. Like I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I played my Invoker, but I like some of the things. Like, I like the charged healing and the charged DPS, and I like flying over and grabbing people and using like time to mitigate damage when you're healing. But if I had to say like what the most complex healing class there is to play, it would be Invoker. Just feels weird, but it's a lot of fun. So definitely playable. Death Knight is again one of those classes that are, you know what, let's go Shaman. Shaman's pretty okay, and Death Knight's pretty okay. These two classes I do have max level of. I have actually a max level of every class except for Monk at the moment. But Death Knight is playable. It's fun, but it takes a little bit to get used to how to use like the ruins and stuff. And then Shamans are very diverse. They could be casters, melee DPS, or healers. And I think totems are pretty interesting as well. So don't have a lot of experience with them, but at the same time, I have enough experience to say that it is a pretty playable class. I would say that hunters. Do I want to say warlocks or higher up? I have a high level warlock, but honestly, it wasn't one of my favorite classes. I probably like priest more than warlock. The reason why I say hunter is because, like, one, I have an OG hunter and I've played him since the beginning. I still have on my hunter, I actually still have the original PvP book that they used to give you for like your ranking systems way back in the day when like rankings used to be labeled in in-game books. And yeah, so like my hunter still has, like, I think it's in vanilla, maybe it's in Burning Crusade, but in one of those, yeah, you get a a book in game, and it lists the ranks that you can get in PvP, and that's on my hunter. Not to mention, like, beast mastery has changed so much. You can go melee and you can do marksman. I've always done marksman just because as a hunter it makes sense to me. Priests, I like being a shadow priest. And then there's like what is it? It's like holy and discipline, I think, which is like two styles of healing. Like discipline's more like giving people shields, whereas like holy, I think it's just straight up heals. So I don't know. It's definitely, these are not bad classes, but they're also not the most interesting in my opinion either. So basically that is why I would probably put them in boring, because I mean you either shoot or you hit or you send your pet to do all the damage. Healing isn't too bad, and Shadow Priest is pretty cool, but I've even like since the beginning I hardly ever played Priest, so I would say it's because it's boring. But I do have to say priests usually get really cool freaking tier set armor, and it drives me nuts. Like class armor that they get is sometimes so much better than a paladin, it actually drives me nuts. Warlocks, I always wish them to be a lot of fun, but again, they just don't really hit the mark for me. And then, well, Monk is the only class that I have. Actually, I can't say I've never played it. I've played every class. Monk is the only class where I don't have it max level. And that's not because I hate pandas, and it's not because I hate Monk. And I actually don't even know if I'd consider it a boring class. I would put it at the bottom as the least interested class out of all of WoW for me. But if I actually had to put a place for it, I'd say Monk can go in playable. Or at the very least, Monk could go in boring. Maybe that's a little bit more realistic. Monk is not that interesting to me, and it's the only class that I have that's not max level, so it is boring. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but this so far looks pretty close to how I would actually tier my classes for World of Warcraft, on which ones that are most playable versus ones that are the least interesting. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going out with content. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.